Hi, I'm Sam Vokes at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. I'm not sure why I say that. Of course it's the latest. This is literally the most up-to-date version of this show. It's this show. It's the latest one anyway. Looking ahead to the trip to Forest Green Rovers, we'll look back at our FA Cup exit on Saturday at the hands of Walsall as well. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth and his post-match comments. He'll be chatting to Phil, as will we, in our match debrief as well in just a few moments' time. And also we'll be hearing from the manager a little later on as well, after he spoke to the media a little earlier on today from the training ground. In fact, today we speak to people from Wycombe who are based there. We speak to people, or a person who is currently in Spain and someone else who's in Twickenham. Geographically, quite spread out this week. Lots to look forward to. We'll catch up with Viv Busby, who was a striker in the mid to late 60s at Lokes Park and got quite a few goals as well. He's the one who currently lives in Spain, by the way. You might have worked that out already. And we'll catch up with Esmee Sword, who is a Wycombe Wanderers current forward for Wycombe Wanderers Women. She was player of the match in last Sunday's fixture against Ascot, the league leaders, who the Chair girls came from behind to get a point against, which is a good result from her, for them. Well, and a good result for her, actually. It's a good result all round. All that to come on the way in the next hour or so. But first, let's bring you some highlights of FA Cup Round 1, Walsall, Adams Park.
Welcome to Adams Park, live from the Bill Turnbull Gantry here at the back of the Frank Adams stand. Wonderful view of the action. Ball over the top looking for Vokes. Poor clearance by Daniels. Vokes spins across in. Vokes goes for goal and it's tipped over the bar by Owen Evans. And Sam Vokes is up for the cup, but so's the keeper. First corner to Wycombe.
Great save from Evans there, but Vokes just turned inside, got it on his favourite right foot, didn't he, and volleyed it. Looked destined for the roof of the net. Great save by Evans.
Mawson comes to join in, and it goes to the back post. Wakely's nearly there, and Tapazzoli's being bundled over, but no penalty. Goal kick. Ball's going to be whipped in now by Gordon. Good delivery. Goes to the back post, and it's there. Maddox scores on the volley, and Wycombe's woes from set pieces continue. Gordon whips it in, and Maddox, right-footed, slams it past Strick, who had no chance in the Wycombe goal, and the finger pointing in the Wycombe defence starts again. Wycombe 0, Walsall 1.
It was a great finish from Maddox. He's come in and smashed it first time, but who was picking him up? Wow. You know, the corner's come over, everyone's looking at each other. Great finish, but question marks over the defending.
Lets them down. Wycombe clear to Vokes, who's grappling with Monse. Gets it back to McCarthy. McCarthy over the top looking for Hanlon. Daniels defends, but Wing gets onto it. Feeds it to Hanlon. Kai's in acres of space. Oh, the ball's over here. Kai though is in the box. Goes past one. He goes down. Referee says penalty. Penalty to Wycombe. Wycombe have the penalty. Kai beat his man on the outside. The leg was dangled by, was it Comley? It was Knowles-Datt there defending. And it's a penalty to Wycombe. And who takes this? There's no Jacobson. It's Brandon Hanlon who's got the ball in his hands. Brandon Hanlon then in front of the Valley end. It's quite a central run. 3 or 4 space steps up to the ball. It's going to be right-footed. Evans is bouncing up and down on his toes here. Hanlon dances up to the ball and it's saved. Keeper bounced his way out and went down low to his right, and it's a save by Owen Evans, and it's not Wycombe's day yet. Back to Kinsella. Runs forwards with it. Goes down the channel. Defended by Wycombe, but Monte has the ball now, lays it to Maddox. Maddox has got away from Wing now. Maddox on the left wing. Inside the box, goes on the outside. It's a great run, cuts the ball back. It goes right away across, and it's there. It's 2-0. Wycombe Wanderers undone down the left-hand side. And it's Hutchinson with the strike, and the Walsall fans in raptures. And there's an FA Cup upset on the cards here at Adams Park. Wycombe 0, Walsall 2. Mehmeti, he's done really well to get away from Kinsella. Goes past Knowles, goes past another, and it's Mehmeti! Rolls the ball past the post from the shot. It was a jinking run, it was Maradona-esque, wasn't it? Slippery, dropping a shoulder, beating 2, 3. Right-footed shot though, not the power or the accuracy. Corner comes in, near post, Mawson gets up! Across the face of goal, and it's a goal kick. Ball down to Daniels. Freeman in midfield releases Mehmeti. Mehmeti now on the run. left-hand side. He goes inside. Still going. Mehmeti goes for goal, but it's straight at the keeper. Comfortable save from Evans. And the referee blows his full-time whistle. It's Walsall that progress into the second round of the FA Cup. It'll be their name in the hat on Monday night. And Wycombe Wanderers face the exit in the first round once more, following on from last year's exit against Hartlepool. No cup run for Wycombe Wanderers this year. It's time to concentrate on the league.
Absolutely, a really bitterly disappointing afternoon from Wycombe. They just never really got going at all. They had that early chance, didn't they? Which Evans saved, but it's literally all afternoon. Walsall have controlled the game. They got the goals at right times. Obviously the penalty save was a big blow from a Wycombe perspective, but look, there's no arguments this afternoon. Walsall have thoroughly deserved to win the tie and progress to the second round. We've got some snacks to get through now, mate.
We certainly have. The one upside of today was the pork scratchings. We'll leave you with the full-time score here in the FA Cup first round. League 1 Wycombe Wanderers 0, League 2 Walsall 2.
The one upside was the pork scratchings. Our match commentator there, Phil Catchpole, alongside him summarising Brian Jeeves. Phil, I'm sure, as you're aware, brings you the commentary games here on Wycombe Sound and also on Wanderers TV. He's also the club's head of audio and broadcast, hosts a fantastic podcast called Ringing the Blues as well, well worth a listen. And caught up with him a little earlier on today to reflect, first of all, on that cup upset.
Yeah, disappointing day really, and then compounded because on the Monday night is the draw, and there's a couple of games on the TV over the weekend, and you kind of watch those with a heavy heart, knowing that you're not involved anymore. Big opportunity, I thought, for Wycombe to progress this season, but credit to Walsall on the day. I thought they were excellent, and Wycombe, came up short, and it's the set piece element again that was really concerning. I think the plus side of this week being there's been no midweek fixture, so I'm absolutely certain that Gareth Ainsworth and his team would have been working incredibly hard on how they can eradicate this going into Forest Green. But yeah, it was just, it was a flat afternoon at Adams Park, and I think circumstances, 4 home games on the spin in quick succession. I think it combining with bonfire night as well, and the bad weather. Crowd was flat as well, and it's just a shame that Wycombe couldn't get through and get themselves into that next round and then hopefully then progress from there. But it's concentrating on the league now, isn't it? That's the cliche that we roll out at this stage of the season. What better opportunity now to go to Forest Green, hopefully can get back on track in the league. Still just 5 points off the playoffs, but we'll see. I mean, Gareth Ainsworth, incredibly bullish after the game as well, saying obviously his disappointment in the performance and the result against Walsall, but reiterating that he felt confident of achieving in the league this season, and here's what he had to say after the game.
We almost got back in this, penalty I think is a big turning point, and for all the world you want Brandon to score that in front of the home end, but that's sort of put the icing on the cake for Walsall, a penalty save, and then they go around the other end and score a second, which puts us out of the game. But I thought we lacked a bit of fight, a little bit of desire. There's a couple of changes in the team, a couple of people getting opportunities, and I've got to make sure that we get back to that team that beat Peterborough here and the team that won away at Oxford and things like that. So we know we can do it. It's just now finding that magic formula that we had only a couple of weeks ago.
That fight and desire has been your hallmark really throughout your tenure. Is it disappointing that it's been lacking today?
It was, yeah, it was. It was. I thought the Walsall fans got right behind their team. They were very loud today, and you could hear them all game. And I think Walsall gave them something to shout about. And sometimes my players have to get this place going and create their own atmosphere. But Walsall stepped on us from the start. They scored from a corner, and then the second goal really disappoints me. Danced right through us, and we didn't seem to stop anyone was ready to stop that happening, and that really killed us off, because at 1-0 you've always got a chance. I think there's nerves coming to that, and made a lot of changes in the second half early enough for hopefully people to impact, but it just didn't happen, and we've got to make sure that we pick the bones out of it quick and get ready for Forest Green in the league next week, because we need to get back to winning ways. That's 3 or 4 without a win now, and that's something I've got to address.
Going back to the first goal, a corner, another set piece.
Yeah, listen, ultimately I'll take responsibility for it. I do, and I've got to make sure that when we do defend set pieces, we're better than we've been in the last few games. So yeah, put that one to bed. But our set pieces, including penalties, we've got to make them count, and that would have been a big turning point today. Gutted, because it wasn't a great occasion. It wasn't a massive turnout today. But we've got to make sure that we're better than the teams that are below us, especially in divisions. And we've got some good players out there. They just didn't turn up today, and I'm looking for the reasons. I'll have to work through this one and find out just why Walsall just stepped on us that little bit today. Disappointing for me, because, like you say, that's been our hallmark for many years, and we've got to get back to that. Hard to beat, not nasty, but people not liking to come to Wycombe, and at the moment it's just a little bit easy to come here and get the points.
You often like to find the positives. Any positives today?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Ryan Taffazoli getting minutes, Sully Kake, TJ, so there's some positives. Esmee Sword, I thought, came on and looked very exciting again, and where he is. Josh Colin's very close to coming back as well, which is great, saving a few legs. Gareth McCleary picked up a knock in the last game, so he'll be back for next Saturday. Chris Farino, similar, got a knock Tuesday, and he'll be back for next Saturday. So plenty of positives. I think we missed some of our big players, but when we're not at full strength, I still expect us to be more competitive than they were today. But ultimately, I'm the manager. Down to me. I'll sort it.
Wycombe fans must be very excited about hearing the name Josh Cohen and nearly back.
Yeah, he's been training outside on the pitches now, and it's unfortunate that we've lost our midfield this season. Lewis and Nick and Wheels have all been trying to fill in there, and like I say, Lewis is probably the only natural midfielder. But the destroyers of Scowen and Gape and Thompson, have all been missing all season. And, well, not Josh, but coincidentally, Josh was back when we were picking points up. So we've got to make sure that we're super competitive with those players in the team, and. So there's going to be one or two changes now, and the squad's going to get very, very competitive, and I'm sure there's going to be some disappointed players here, but that's football. I've got to put my best team out there to win the points. We want to give it a real go in League One now, and there's no cups left. All we've got is the league. I intend to have a great second half of the season and make those playoffs. That's the aim.
Great to hear from the manager, of course, and always very optimistic as always. But watching the last sort of few games, and as you say, those four at home, it really seems to be those defensive errors that have crept in.
Yeah, it's the fine margins, isn't it? Because if you defend a set piece better, if Sam Vokes gets one of his goals allowed, maybe Wycombe are looking at an extra, 6 points even, and where does that put them in the table? So that's where we're at, really. But refereeing decisions are not why Wycombe are losing these games. You can't control those. You can control defensive errors, and there's been plenty of those of late at set pieces, and it's not been easy. The injury situation, especially in defence and midfield, has meant there's been lots of chopping and changing. The keeper came in after 5 games as well, so there's been a lot of change back there, and a lot of transitioning character that's been mentioned as well in terms of people leaving the club and etc. It does feel a period of transition. I think a lot of hope from the fans is being pinned on the return of the likes of Josh Scowen and Dominic Gape, Ryan Taffazoli, and great to see Taff getting 90 under his belt against Walsall. So you think, once things start to drop into place, you hope the club can start to build a bit of momentum, really. But yeah, I think if you give goals away, Colin, it's just really difficult to win football matches, especially in this incredibly competitive League One.
It's interesting, isn't it, what you can take from draws. Obviously, the last 2 league games, the points have been shared, and sometimes it feels like a point gained, but with those 2 games especially, it feels like a couple dropped.
Yeah, it does, because they're at home and Morecambe bottom of the table. I think it shows you that the league from top to bottom has got teams who are really scrapping, and there's not an easy game in League One. And it's just, I think, the nature of the home games and it coming off the back of those 3 consecutive wins, which fans were sort of looking at that run thinking, oh, that's tricky. And Wycombe flew through that, and then everyone, I think we all did, maybe got a bit ahead of ourselves, saw the run of fixtures coming up and seeing the home games and thinking, wow, we can really use this to kick on now. But football's not like that, is it? As we know. So there we are. But it's 1 defeat in 6. They're 5 points off the playoffs. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. That's the glass is half full. But yeah, I think people will also see the glass is half empty side of it as well by saying that, it's 3 home games in a row without a win. if Wycombe really want to achieve, that's going to hold them back.
So I think for table watchers, I assume there is such a thing, people will be surprised, I think, that MK Dons, down the wrong end of the table, Oxford probably lower than people would expect as well. There are a number of teams who are not having quite the sort of fortunes that would be expected of them.
Yeah, and there's no surprise in a lot of that, because every team would have started this season going, right, we want to achieve something this season. Majority of them would have been going for top six. There, of course, are teams in there who are thinking, right, our ambition this season is not to get relegated and consolidate and build. It wasn't that long ago that Wycombe Wanderers were in that position. But yeah, it's tough, for MK Dons. They fell in the playoff hurdle one fence before we did. Had a lot of transition in their squad as well. And they're probably thinking like us, thinking, right, second half of the season, we're really going to bed in and settle down and go on a big run. And there's often a team or a couple of teams that really string something together in that second half of the table and of the season and fly up the table. And Wycombe Wanderers will be very much hoping it's them.
And we come up against the team this weekend, of course, who have had got a struggling start themselves too.
Yeah, first time at this level. I think they've done brilliantly, in terms of their recent rise. I mean, bearing in mind they're a football team based in the village on top of a hill. And here they are in League One, alongside the likes of Derby County, Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich Town, Portsmouth, etc. So you've really got to give them a lot of credit for what they've done. I think, looking back to what we mentioned just a minute ago, that first time back into League One, obviously Wycombe have been in League One before at this level, but they fought so hard to get out of League Two, and that first season was all about survival, wasn't it? And making sure you don't lose all the hard work to get into that division. And that's probably where Forest Green are at. They lost their manager in the summer when he went to Watford, and Ian Birchall's come in. I think it's tough when you come in off the back of a success rather than someone who's been fired, because you've got to then get your own identity into the team and keep it going. They've had to do that while stepping up a level as well. So, they're in touch down the bottom. It's tight down there. We know it's a tight division. We also know, after playing bottom of the table Morecambe as it was when we played them at Adams Park, that there is no easy game, because they were bottom and they came out and fought like tigers that day. And I'm sure Forest Green will do as well.
And just finally, supporters may well have heard, talk this week about the ownership future of the club and the trust meeting, and I guess that's important that on the pitch activities that don't sort of distract from that.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we can talk about a football match now. This week it's been quite a busy week with the trust meeting at Adams Park on last night. Lots of fans frustrated not to be able to get into that initially, and then the information's sort of coming out today, hopefully for people to get their teeth into and see what's going on with that. It'll be nice to talk about a football match on Saturday, and hopefully 3 points for Wycombe Wanderers as well.
We look forward to hearing you describing the game from the top of the hill.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I think it's either the highest or second highest football league ground in the country. I think
might be windy then.
Always, and I'm looking forward to some nice vegan food, because last time I was there, the food was excellent.
Food and football, your accompaniment for the game on Saturday. Last weekend was pork scratchings, this weekend vegan food. Phil will be bringing us match commentary on Wanderers TV and here on Wycombe Sound 106.6 from 3 o'clock on Saturday. The match build-up starts from 2, and don't forget you can hear chats with Gareth in full on Wanderers TV.
Online, on Radio Player and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear more from manager Gareth Ainsworth, and we'll catch up with a Wycombe Wanderers Women striker as well. But first, another forward if you were following Wycombe Wanderers in the 60s, from 1966 to 1970. You'll know the name Viv Busby. Recently, he's also played for clubs up and down the country as well in his professional career. So a fantastic career indeed, as I say, and was also a manager as well for the likes of Hartlepool and York. And recently he was honoured by Fulham, another of his former clubs. He there was inducted into their Hall of Fame. Now retired and living in Spain, and got to catch up with him and find out a bit more about, first of all, that honour at Craven Cottage.
Yeah, it was great. They've been trying to get me back for a couple of years, and I felt as though I needed to go back, and it was a poignant day because they were playing Everton, And when we got through to the FA Cup final, we played Everton away and I got both goals. We won 2-1. So they thought it was would be a nice day for, to associate the two, really. But they really looked after us and fantastic day. Got nice applause from the crowd. So, all in all, it was very nice.
You must have such great memories from your time at Craven Cottage, especially playing with the likes of George Best and Bobby Moore as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were fantastic. I mean, Bobby was absolutely brilliant. I think he was about 33 at the time, and he came to Fulham, and he was unbelievable. I learnt so much off him. Great fellow, nice man. And when he spoke, you listened, and he talked a lot of sense, and he improved my game quite a bit in terms of little technical things that you could do, and he would be on the ball, and he would be unbelievable. And it was fantastic to play with him and to play with George. George was come back from America, and he was at it, if I can use that phrase. He wasn't messing about. He was having a real go, and it was a pleasure to play with him and see some of the things he could do with the ball was amazing. So all in all, it was a great time, a great era.
So we should talk about your time at Wycombe. How did that come about? Because you were following in your father's footsteps. Yeah,
my dad played for Wycombe. Yeah, that was amazing. I was playing for Terriers under 18s, and the manager at the time at Wycombe was Barry Darville, and he was up watching the game in the morning. They were playing at home in the afternoon. I think I was 16, playing in under 18s, and after the game, he knew my dad, and he asked if I'd like to go training on Tuesday and Thursday and see, just take it from there. So I was so pleased to do that. It was unbelievable because I used to go and watch them every Saturday afternoon if they were at home. And I used to go with my nan. She lived about 100 yards from Lokes Park on Suffield Road. And she used to go and she used to take me and my brother. And I can remember being there when I was 10, 11, watching the boys. And it was great. And to go and actually play with them when I was 16, or train with them when I was 16, actually played my first game when I was 17. I think it was against Corinthian Casuals away from home, and that was unbelievable. Yeah, but great days, really. And those boys that I played with, they're my heroes. I absolutely love them. I went back about 5 years ago. John Bignan, big friend of mine, he invited me back, and me and Barb, my partner, went back and had a great day. Met all the boys, and that was fantastic. And I obviously keep a good eye on them now and watch the progress. And Keith Samuels rings me up now and then. Martin Priestley rings me up now and then. And we have a chat. And they're always sending me, when they have these golf days and dinners, they send me pictures. And I've just received some from John and from Martin. And it's great to see the boys. I mean, some of them now are in their 80s and they look fantastic.
We spoke about the success at Fulham, but obviously it must be so special for you to have played for your hometown club.
Oh, it was amazing, yeah, absolutely. As I say, I went to watch them, and you land up playing with them, and it's absolutely amazing. And they were good players, really good players. I mean, a lot of them could have turned pro at the time, but obviously the wages for being a pro wasn't very good, and they'd all got jobs, decent jobs, so they refused. I think Lenny Worley played as an amateur for Tottenham, if I recall correctly. I'm not 100% on that, but they would have all been good pros now this day and age. But then it wasn't worth them doing it, really. So they just stayed with Wycombe, and they enjoyed what they did, and it was great to play with them.
Did you find it a real grounding for your own sort of professional career as well?
Yeah, I mean, you learn a lot from those boys. I mean, to play with them it was like a dream come true for me. As I say, watching them and then all of a sudden playing with them, it's fantastic. As I say, though, those days stick out vividly in my memory. I've had a good career spanning 40 years, and that was a good grounding for me. I learned so much from the boys, and it was an absolute pleasure to play in front of your home crowd in your hometown.
On your goal-scoring record, that must be something you're very proud of as well.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how many I got down there, but it was nice to score goals and to play, as I say, to play with, Tony Horseman, Paul Bates, people like that, Sammy, Lenny. It was great, and to play in front of your home crowd. And my nan used to come. She was about 75 then, I think. She used to come and have a little look, and she was Wycombe mad, Wycombe Wanderers mad. And obviously, as I say, my dad played for them as well, and my brother played in the reserves for them, and then he turned pro at QPR. So all in all, it was a fantastic, from 17 to 20 when I turned pro. I had 3 great years there, and it sticks out vividly in my memory, as I say.
Are there any particular games or goals or occasions that really spring to mind as highlights?
I think the first one was Corinthian Casuals away, I think, and I scored. So that stands out in your mind. And I think we played in a Berks and Bucks Cup, and I don't forget who we played, but I think we won about 8-2 and I scored 3, I think. So they were good memories. But to play at Lokes Park on the slope, that was something different, and it was fantastic. I can't tell you how much I really loved playing with those boys, and as I say, I regard them highly, and they're in my mind and in my memory, they're absolute top draw, really, really good players.
And something which really stands out, having spoken to some of those names that you mentioned, is just the camaraderie between yourselves in the dressing room, how well you all got on, and obviously still to this day as well.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it was fantastic because I was a young lad, and they were sort of some of them were early 20s, some of them were a little bit older, but they sort of got round me and sort of embraced me into the fold, if you like, and I felt very, very proud to actually play for them. And the boys, as I say, were fantastic. I mean, I used to be a cost accountant when I was playing for Wycombe, and I worked at Woburn, and I was that proud to get my Wycombe bag. I used to take my Wycombe bag, get a bus into Wycombe from Woburn, and I used to stop 2 stops earlier so I could walk through the town with my bag with Wycombe Wanderers on it. That's how much it meant to me at the time. And those things I remember very much indeed.
That's brilliant to hear, especially, considering the other clubs that you played for as well, but Wycombe obviously so special to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've played for a lot of clubs and coached at a lot of places. But your first one is always, I feel, sticks out in your memory a lot more than the others. I mean, Fulham was a bit special because we played in the FA Cup final, which was great. It was absolutely a fantastic day. Not many players get to do that, but to start with those boys and play for your hometown, something special and something I've been very proud of.
And you mentioned coaching. How did you find the transition to coaching and obviously managing as well?
I think it's the next best thing from playing. Obviously, I started coaching when I finished playing. I finished playing when I was about 33, I think. Went to York City, and they were bottom of the 4th division, and we took them to the 3rd FA Cup rounds against Arsenal and Liverpool. And just to pass on your knowledge, and I changed little bits and pieces and used the ball all the time, whereas the old regime when I was started at Luton was you just used to run every day and do circuits and weights and all sorts of stuff. But the transformation was great, especially when you're successful, like we were to start at York. That's a bit special as well because, there's nothing like coaching during the week and seeing something come on a Saturday that you've actually practiced and the boys put it into motion. So I really enjoyed the coaching side of it, though. I mean, I had 25 years in it, and it was great. I had some big clubs and worked with some great people, some great players.
And having played for the club in the 60s, do you feel really part of the history and kind of a help, if you like, is to have built the club as to where it is today?
I think at that time in the 60s, late 60s, they will go down in history because that was Wycombe Wanderers probably at its best until they got into the professional league when Martin O'Neill took over. I think he took them to the league, which was somewhat special for them as well. Then the new ground, but I think those boys that that played in those days are well respected by all the people that go to the ground now, and they all look into the history, and those boys are really special.
And so well supported as well. You see, crowds of over 7,000 at Lokes Park for even what you might be considering, quite small games.
Yeah, the crowds were unbelievable. The ground was obviously old, and the slope was there, and that was something different to play on. But the crowds were great, really good crowds, and obviously they played a big part in the success that was going on while we were there.
So just for people that don't know, I'm sure people will be interested to know what you're doing these days. As I say, we find you in Spain.
Yeah, retired here 10 years ago. Living in Mahaca, a friend of mine who I played with at Luton and Norwich, John Ryan, he rang me up, and we were near Marbella. We moved out to Marbella, near Marbella, and he rang me up and said, "Are you in Spain, Viv?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "You need to come and see us." So he said, I said, "Where are you?" So he said, "Mahaca." So we came up here, and we moved up here from near Marbella, where I've been going on holiday for 30 years. And this place is really good. It's no high-rise, no motorways, and it's a really tranquil place.
Really enjoyed catching up with Viv Busby and getting his memories and reflections on his time at Lokes Park. Big thank you, of course, to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, who got their dinner returning after COVID next Friday. If you fancy going along to that, fantastic opportunity to see and meet some of the stars of the club's past. Manager Martin O'Neill, you might have heard JDT telling us last week as well, will be there with his new autobiography. You can get a signed copy of that. For additional Wycombe Wanderers nostalgia, why not check out Wanderers TV, where there's a great feature called Goalkeeper to Artist, the story of the 1957 Cup final keeper Dennis Sirrett, who've had on the show as well, of course. Fantastic to, again, get his thoughts and find out a bit more about his art in later life as well. And, of course, the art of goalkeeping, which any goalkeeper will tell you is is quite an art in itself. Continuing with our notice board section. Still in its early stages, the notice board section of this show. But Wycombe Wanderers are putting on a great special event to be held at Adams Park. It's an evening with Dean Saunders, compared by Adja Brown, and following the recent success of Gareth Ainsworth's networking lunch, which I caught the tail end of at Adams Park and got to speak to the manager. You might have heard that on this show as well. Also, the Chairboys Golf Day, which was very successful at Harleyford. The club are welcoming guests back to Adams Park for a sporting dinner. It will take place on a Thursday. I know. 20 good things happen on Thursday. 23rd of Feb from 6 o'clock. So you'll have to catch this on the podcast version, I imagine. Guests will be enjoying spending an evening with the former Liverpool, Aston Villa, Benfica and Wales legend, hearing stories from throughout his career on and off the pitch. I'm very pleased to say that during some of my work, I've spent quite a bit of time with Dean Saunders. He does tell a good story. There'll also be an opportunity to network with local businesses as well. The ticket price also includes a 3-course meal, plus tea, coffee and mince. Plus, you get an official club chef will be sorting out as well in the Caledonian Suite. There'll also be guests having the chance to enter an auction and be part of the club fundraising on the night as well. I've also witnessed Phil, who we heard from a bit earlier on. His auctioneering was very, very good, and a signed Gareth Ainsworth shirt went for nearly £500. You can find full details on the website, Wycombe Wanderers website, or you can email commercial@wwfc.com for more details as well. To find out more about that. It's taking place in the new year, 23rd of February, at Evening with Dean Saunders. I'm sure it'll be very, very popular.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers show for this week. Still to come, we'll hear more from manager Gareth Ainsworth as he talks us through the benefits of not having a game on a Tuesday. Which has been the first week for a while that's not happened, of course. We'll look ahead to the trip to Forest Green Rovers on Saturday as well, which you'll be able to hear live here on Wycombe Sound 106.6 and on Wanderers TV as well, of course. But first, often on this show we like to follow the progress of the Chairgirls, Wycombe Wanderers Women, going through a sort of transition period. It's been a great sort of time for them on the back of the Lionesses' success, a new home at Burnham, new manager in Carl Simon, and of course they played at Adams Park for the first time in the FA Cup. And been speaking to one of the new arrivals over the summer, Esmee Sword, who's a forward and, of course, as you'd expect, rather enjoying herself and time with the Chairgirls.
It's been good. I mean, I am getting back into it. I've been out of football for a few years because of an injury, so I'm getting back into it. But it's been really good so far. I mean, I'm just kind of getting back into like working with a team and kind of feeling that, getting kind of gelling together and starting to get that bond. But I mean, we've had ups and downs, but we're getting there.
Is there a real feeling of togetherness? Because obviously there are so many sort of new players, obviously a new head coach and team as well, and obviously you just recently moved to your new home as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's taken a while, and we have, hit a few bumps along the way, but everyone's working hard. Everyone wants the same outcome. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants that. So, I think we are really starting to gel now as a team. I think we are really coming together after our most recent game. I kind of definitely saw a huge kind of shift in everyone's like work rate and just like mentality. I think we're all really starting to gel together now, and it's getting really positive now.
I guess it's bound to take a while as well with the new manager, getting to play how he wants and getting everyone in their best positions and playing sort of your strongest 11.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we have a lot of players who are equally as good, who all play the same position. So that's always kind of going to cause a little bit of trying to choose your starting team. But I think everyone's just as good. Everyone works just as hard, and Carl makes the decisions, and it seems to be working now.
How have you found the sort of training and the games themselves, the kind of the schedule, if you like?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I'm used to it. I've been playing football for years and years, and I like it. I like having something to do. I love training through the week, and especially when you can really clearly see that everyone's improving like week by week, and we're becoming more of a team each week. Yeah, it's great. I love matches, and we are getting there.
And playing at Adams Park must have been a special occasion.
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, we played so well, and I played the full 90 minutes at Adams Park, and it was a tough one, but it was good. It was a great game, and it was such a good experience. Great stadium, really good publicity. It was really great.
It must seem like such a great time to be involved with the team as well, especially with the Lionesses doing so well, and a great opportunity for people locally to really get behind the women's team. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, we have been doing a lot to try and get our name out there, and you can really see we are really trying to make it as professional as it can be, and really kind of make ourselves level with the men's team, which I think it should be. And, we are on our way to be doing that. I think after the Euros, I mean, that was amazing just for the country and for kind of women's football in general, and I think that we kind of made really great strides in that area, and I think the only way is up. It's only getting better from here.
And are you really pleased with your own game, obviously, and how that's coming along?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I scored the winning goal at Adams Park, so that was a good experience. I got player of the match on Sunday just gone, so I am really feeling myself improve as well. I mean, because I have been out for a few years, I really kind of spent pre-season and the beginning of the season really just trying to get back into it. But I enjoy it so much, but even just mentally, like when I kind of started playing football again, it was almost like a kind of relief, and it's just a very positive thing for me to be doing, and it helps, and it's great. I love it.
And some great character shown by the team on Sunday, taking on the league leaders, going a goal behind it, and pulling that goal back.
Yeah, it was great. It was everyone worked extremely hard. It was a tough game, but we did go into it thinking, they're top of the league. But we really proved ourselves, and I think sometimes it kind of takes us it happens a lot where we kind of go 1-0 down and then we kind of really pull it out of the bag. But I mean, we did go 1-0 down, but from the very beginning we really wanted it. You could really tell that every player on the pitch wanted it so badly, and with all of our subs that came on, everyone made an impact in the game. Everyone really pulled their weight, and it was unfortunate to draw and not come out with a win, but everyone saw such an improvement in our game and just in everything, and it just really shows kind of what we can do in the future.
And does that feel like there might be a real turning point for the season as well?
I think so, definitely. I think if we continue at the rate that we've been going, and kind of after a really good performance, it kind of boosts you again. So I think the only way is it can only get better. And I think if we all kind of work that well, we're really gelling together now, and I think that could be a real turning point. I mean, we all know we can do it. We're all great players. We all work really hard together, and it just hasn't really shown in any of our matches so far. And so it'll be good to just really kind of start showing that and prove ourselves, because I think some other teams kind of think we're, not even worth the game, but that's what we did on the weekend. We kind of really showed them that we are kind of a force to be reckoned with, and we are a good team. We work well together, we play well, and we can win. That's
a really good thing, isn't it, to take into the next game? Because I'm sure Oxford City will have, seen recent results and seen where you're on the table and think, perhaps they're not doing very well. But then they say, hang on a minute, they take on the league leaders and pull back level with them. Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, after our match against Ascot, where we drew, it was definitely I think they were very shocked. They kind of went into the match really thinking that it was going to be easy, they were going to win. And I was so glad that we kind of showed them. And we were like, no, we do have it. We can play. We showed them. And I think going into the match on the weekend, I think we have to go in with the exact same kind of mentality and really kind of show them what we can do, because we can work so well together, and we can win the match if we want to. We've just got to work hard for it. I know when Carl first came in, he sort of joked that he got asked a lot, what were his targets and what were his set targets. Is that something as a striker, do you set yourself, the amount of goals you'd like to score?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not all about me scoring. But winning is, I do want to win. To win, you have to score. Yeah, I do have kind of high expectations of myself, and I do get frustrated in matches when, I'm not making the contributions I want to, but I think, that will come. And I think the only way to progress in football is you have to be winning. So I probably do hold myself to kind of high standards and high expectations of myself, but I think that's the only way forward, really.
Well, I look forward to seeing more of your Van Basten-esque style goals like the one you got at Adams Park, and hopefully there'll be more of those to come this season.
Yeah, so I hope so too. It was a great goal. I'll see if I can pull that off again.
Wycombe Wanderers Women centre forward Esmee Sword, who is Esmee Ford, who is a psychology student, and speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound. You can back the Chairgirls this weekend. A 2:00 kickoff on Sunday. They're at home once again in the league to Oxford City, and you can get along to the 1878 Stadium in Burnham. Kids go free. Well worth getting behind them for that. The reserves play in league action as well. They're away to Ruislip, and then the under-18s are also at the 1878 Stadium on Saturday morning. They face XL. I know. The XL at football, they're called. So, yes, bear that in mind. If you're going along to back them, that's a 10:30 kickoff to see some of the stars of the future for Wycombe Wanderers Women. And make sure you keep listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show here on Wycombe Sound. We'll feature many more Chairgirls chats with players and coaches and other people connected with them here on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, which is a weekly show. If you've just discovered us, perhaps you've just tuned in, this is the third series. Where have you been? Come on. You must have heard about it by now. If you're not around on a Thursday evening, there's a podcast version of the show which is normally available to download from the Friday lunchtime, the perfect build-up to your Saturday match day. You can also get us on the Wycombe Sound radio player page. We're also on YouTube. Very popular on YouTube, apparently. There's nothing to see. Not like there's a video. It's not, the show's not filmed or anything, but it's a good listen on YouTube. Luke, our producer of the show, he reported that someone in quite a smart car, not a smart car, but a smart car, was in Marlow with his window down, listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show. It's a true story. And also you can catch up with us on the Wycombe Sound website, wycombesound.org.uk. There's a listen again feature, so shows from the past 4 weeks are there. I think that's everything. Radio player page, YouTube, podcast. Yes, brilliant. Also, of course, on 106.6 FM, you can get full match commentary of all Wanderers games, and there's a match build-up from midday from home games, live from the car park with Rob and Luke and Sally. And for away matches, the build-up starts at 2. An hour before kick-off, our match commentator is Phil. And, of course, the next game is against Forest Green Rovers this coming Saturday. Before that, though, we reflect a little on the game on Saturday, the FA Cup exit in the first round against Walsall at Adams Park. If you weren't there, we played you some highlights, in inverted commas, from the game earlier in the show. But I was catching up with manager Gareth Ainsworth a little earlier on, looking back on that game. But first, talking of the competition, if you were listening last week, you'll know that the manager got himself some tickets to go and see Bracknell Town, not far from where he lives, take on Ipswich on Monday night. Here's how that went.
Yeah, it was nice respite from me, because obviously we had a disappointing one on Saturday, but it was good to go and see a local team. I know a lot of Bracknell fans. And yeah, I thought they did really well, especially first half. Pressed Ipswich quite high, and I think they ran out of steam. If I'm honest, I think that Ipswich's fitness and sort of pace and the physical attributes really put pay to Bracknell rather than anything football wise. Because I think Bracknell set up really well to try and counter that. It was just, you could feel it. You could feel it, that they were running out of steam in that second half, and fair play to him for holding on so long. I was pleased to see that. I went along with Phil Alexander, who's an ex-manager of Bracknell, I think. So it was a nice moment. Don't often use my privileged status to get to games, but I wanted to go to that one, and it was very entertaining. And obviously, like I say, quick forgetting of Saturday's game, which I was disappointed with. It was tough to take, but. We move on now to the league this Saturday, and looking forward to getting a fully fit squad back with a couple of rested last week as well. If there's any positives from last week, we rested a couple of people, and they should be firing for this weekend now.
On a game like Walsall, do you quickly put that behind you, or do you take things from it and then use that to sort of focus to work on to build on to the next game?
No, we have to learn from it. Yeah, definitely. We have to review it and learn from it, and that's what we did this week. There's certain fundamentals that would play a part in any game. You can't just say, "Oh, don't worry about the cup now." We go back in and analyse why it went wrong and what we could have done better. And I think that the boys enjoy that now. The modern player enjoys feedback. He enjoys learning. I think in the old days it was a little bit of get on with the next one, can't wait for it. But now with all the recovery and the fitness and the tailored training programs, there's time now to get and the analysis and footage and programs you got access to. It's good to be able to rip things apart and piece the game together and say what went wrong, where it went wrong, why it went wrong, and how can we be better next time. And I think that was important, especially some of the young boys who played, and Jack Wakely obviously getting his first real start apart from the Carabao. So I've got some positives from there. Very disappointing to be out of the FA Cup, because it's a competition I really do enjoy and like, and I wish I'd have been in that next round, but unfortunately the trip to Carlisle or home to Carlisle, I can't remember what they got, so it was either or. We missed out on that, and that would have been a nice chance to get to round 3, but we have to concentrate on the league now. I know it's an adage, it's an old cliche, but this is what we've got now, the league, and we're not even halfway through, and I'm comfortable with it. I'm not totally happy. I think we could be 2 or 3 points higher in the league, looking back at the games with key moments, but comfortable, and I think going into the second half of the season with the injured boys returning, I think we'll be very strong, and I think you'll be seeing a whole different picture, and I think there'll be some teams fading away and some coming from behind, and we're just steady where we are. Like I say, no panic. We've had the best 3 years recently of this club's history. Maybe we can just get in those playoffs again this season, which would be a fantastic achievement.
Has it felt like you've had a bit of extra preparation time? Because it seems like this is the first week for a while where you've not had a Tuesday game.
It's been chaos, honestly, Colin. It really has. With the Saturday Tuesdays coming up thick and fast. As a player, I used to love that, but as a manager, I hate it. There's not very little planning time, and like I say, with the pitches getting heavier, the training times, the risk of injury, players getting injured, players getting suspended. You're chopping and changing the team, which doesn't help. I'm really pleased that it's Saturday now for quite a while, and we've got to make full advantage of this now and put some real good sessions into place, get back to some fundamentals that we do, and I'm looking to ask the boys for a top performance on Saturday, because we owe that to each other, and we owe that to Rob and Peter. They've stayed strong with backing us.
And such a boost for you, as you say, you've got a fully fit squad to choose from now.
Yeah, I think Curtis Thompson's probably the only long-term absentee still, and he's out on the pitches now, which is great. So they'll be very soon for Curtis to return. But we are very happy with where we are squad-wise now. There's one or two returning, which makes a big difference.
And I guess Forest Green will be another game that you'll be targeting a win, and they've not had a great start either. Only two league victories, and of course Wycombe not been there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, like there is some results that this season that have turned the league upside down, top against bottom, and Derby Morecambe, I'll say about last weekend, that was one that surprised everyone, or the week before when we didn't pick up full points against Morecambe, everyone thought it was a disaster, and then Derby go and draw with them as well, which is like, well, actually it might, Morecambe might be better than people think. This league is stronger than people think. I think expectation for Wycombe is a little bit higher than it should be, but we have got to take full responsibility of that, because we've delivered over the last few years, and we've got to make sure that we now are striving towards that expectation and stepping forward and taking that on with with the platform we've created for ourselves. It's been a brilliant, like I say, past few seasons, and I want to be in them playoffs again. It's really important.
And as you say, with the players returning, I guess it won't be too long till fans, and obviously yourself as well, start to see sort of the team that you're looking for, and your strongest 11 that you can put out. Yeah,
I don't think your strongest 11 as a manager you ever know. I think different games, will warrant different things. I don't think any even in the Premier League, I don't think even Arsenal at the top there, I don't think he's got a strongest 11. They'll still be chopping and changing Arteta one or two players each game. That's what squad does nowadays. Back in the day, you probably had an 11 and that was it. But I've definitely got a strong sort of 18, and once they're all fit, then wow, we are a good force. But seldom get them all fit together. It's going to be key to keeping everyone fit now, keeping everyone at top peak condition, and making sure that we get the results when we're at full strength.
Wycombe Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth speaking to us a little earlier on today. Interesting to make comparison with Arsenal, because it doesn't seem too long ago, does it, that Arsenal were down at the bottom of the table and took them sort of 7 games without winning in the Premier League, and look at them now. It's just shows you how cyclical in football can be. Some news to bring you. Just check out the Wycombe Wanderers website before boarding his plane back to the States. Chairman Rod Couig caught up with Wanderers TV to review last night's trust meeting, where future plans for the club were discussed with members. There's an in-depth video interview for you to take in there. As I say, that's on Wycombe Wanderers website. You can hear from the chairman his thoughts on last night's meeting with the trust, and a number of sort of takeaways, and hopefully some clarification with that and the future of the club and its ownership, and plans for going forward and that sort of thing. Hope you've enjoyed the Wycombe Wanderers show this week. We're back at the same time next week. It's of course the week of we'll be looking back at Forest Green Rovers game, hopefully all 3 points and climbing up the table, and also of course we'll be previewing the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association dinner, which is next Friday. Following weeks on the show, of course, we'll be bringing you some brilliant interviews from that event. Very much looking forward to attending that. I'm sure the food's very good apart from anything else. And just a quick reminder that we've got live commentary, as I say, from Forest Green Rovers, kick-off at 3 o'clock on 106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound, and also on Wanderers TV as well. Have a great 7 days, and as I say, check out the podcast version if you've just tuned in and wanted to know what it's about. Should be available from lunchtime tomorrow. Have a great week, and fingers crossed for 3 points on Saturday.